Hey everyone, Twisted here. So we're going to do a series of tutorials called Breaking Out of the Box. And what that means is that normally we tend to put all of our models in boxes. And I've seen it around lately, and not just with Mind Circus's designs, but other people are attempting to do so. So Mind Circus has done a bunch of great tutorials on breaking out of the box for PaintShop Pro. However, there just aren't any for Photoshop. So I took it upon myself to make some videos of breaking out of the box in Photoshop, and we're going to go ahead and get started now. So we're going to open up a new document. And we're going to set our width and our height at 2000 pixels and our resolution at 92. We're going to grab us some black paint and we're going to make the background black. Then we're going to take our model here and did you see how I did that? All I did was grab, bring it over, and then drop it in. We're going to take our model here and we're going to resize it. And to do that, Control T, hold down Shift key because we want to keep it proportioned, and just start resizing her up. And that'll give us a good base to work with. And then we're going to create a box of where we think our box should be. And we're going to be breaking out here, so try and leave pieces of her out. I'm going to make sure this is all lighter color so that way we can see what we're doing. We're going to put this underneath our model. We're going to make sure that our layer 2 is highlighted, the one with our model, and we are going to add a new mask. And I am going to be going fairly quickly here because I'm going to assume that you have seen my beginner tutorials and my advanced tutorials and knowing what I'm talking about. So before we do anything else, we're going to not highlight this layer. We're going to hold down our control and we're going to click on the picture. And that's going to give us a selection. See these little marching ants? That is considered a selection. We're going to go up here and inverse that selection. And then we're going to make sure that our mask is highlighted, which it is. It has that white border around it. And we're going to grab some black paint. We're going to make sure that our brush is at the hardest setting. And we're going to choose a fairly big brush. And our opacity should be at 100%. We should have black paint. We should make sure that our spacing is at 1%. And then we're going to just start going around the edges, and we're going to start masking out or erasing the background. And now the reason why I'm doing it this way, the reason why I make sure that there's a selection around the box and that it's inversed, is because this is basically a guide. It's going to help you keep, as you can see, I'm painting inside that box and nothing is being erased because we're keeping a barrier between us and that model. So this way you don't have to be too careful about going around these edges. You can just start erasing. Now I'm staying far away from the inner part of this model so far because I don't want to erase her head. Now the reason why we chose a fairly hard brush, or we chose the hardest brush, is because we want smooth cuts. So we're going to go for our zoom tool and we're going to zoom in as far as possible. Go back to our brush and we're going to left bracket to make it smaller. We're going to start just painting closer towards our model, getting a smaller brush as we go. And we want to just start, you're going to take some time here because you don't want to see any lines or halos around her. We want to just start cutting her away. Now, you're probably wondering why I didn't just cut the whole model out and place it on top of the box. Well, I'm going to show you why here in a second. Because we still want to keep the model looking like she belongs in the image, but we want to do it in as less steps as possible, meaning we don't want to do, cut her completely out, which is going to be just really time consuming, but we do want to cut parts of her out. So the reason why I make this my first step instead of putting her on like an avatar and then cutting away the avatar is, again, as less steps as possible, and in doing that we're still going to get a great piece out of her. Follow along that line as much as possible. And just start breaking away here. We're going to fit screen and take a look at that. Alright, perfect. And we're going to check on our time and see how well we're doing there. But first we're going to make sure the rest of our mask is erased out. I'm making sure that if you see in this window, it's kind of like your preview window of the parts that you have erased. And if you can see that there's some parts that we are missing. And the reason why I do that is just to ensure that I have every part of that layer erased that I wanted. Alright, so we have officially broken out of our box, so to speak. But now we want to put her on top of a different background, which we're going to do in our next tutorial, is when I'm going to start putting her on the background and I'm going to start putting a border on top of that. So this is basically your first step, your pushing step, and stay tuned for the next one.